Hi and a very good evening, viewers. You're watching the news live at 9 p.m. on Sansad television. I'm Rashika Gangwani. Before we begin the details of the day's top stories from India and across the world, a look at the headlines. Prime Minister Modi security breach in Punjab. Supreme Court committee finds lapses, says Ferozepur SSP failed to discharge duty. Union Home Minister chairs high-level security review meet on Jammu and Kashmir. 3 terrorists killed in Baramulla encounter. Union Cabinet restricts export of wheat and Meslin flour. Decision to check rising prices and ensure food security for the most vulnerable sections of the society. Labour force has a huge role in realizing dream of developed India, asserts Prime Minister Modi. Says future may require flexible workplaces, work from home ecosystem and flexi work hours. Parliament should work to realize public expectations. At the 65th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference in Canada, Lok Sabha Speaker Birla emphasizes efforts to take fruits of development to every member of the society. Now, quick look at some important news. No conclusive proof of Pegasus spyware in 29 phones examined, says Supreme Court. Some malware found in 5 phones. Prime Minister Modi to commission first indigenous aircraft carrier IAC Vikrant on September 2nd in Kochi. President Murmu addresses 2020 batch IAS officers, encourages young bureaucrats to work with passion and pride. Remission of 11 convicts in Bilkis Bano case. Supreme Court issues notice to Gujarat government and centre. Economic Advisory Council to Prime Minister to release competitiveness roadmap for India at 100 on Tuesday. The centre advises edible oil manufacturers, packers and importers to declare net quantity in volume in addition to weight. S. Jaishankar co-chairs 8 India-Brazil Joint Commission meet with Brazilian counterpart Carlos Franca in Brasilia. Agreement signed in broadcasting and taxation. Electronic passports to be rolled out by year-end. E-chip and other features to be added to the passport book. Delhi High Court dismisses WhatsApp and Meta appeals on order declining to interfere with Competition Commission of India's probe into its 2021 privacy policy. Kobe Bryant's widow awarded $16 million at damages over leaked graphic photos of helicopter crash that killed the US basketball star and his daughter in 2020. Now, further news in detail. Supreme Court appointed committee has held Ferozepur SSP responsible for the security breach during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Punjab in January. The panel found out that Ferozepur SSP Amit Shah failed to discharge his duty even though there was sufficient force available to maintain law and order. It said that SSP had been informed 2 hours before the PM's route. The top court said it will send the report of the committee headed by former Apex Court Judge Indu Malhotra to the government for appropriate action. The committee has also identified some remedial measures to strengthen the safety and security of the Prime Minister while on tour. On 5th of January, Prime Minister Modi's convoy was stranded on a flyover due to a blockade by protesters in Ferozepur.
ये पुलिस अधिकारी किसके इशारे पर ये खेल खेल रहे थे और सुरक्षा के साथ खिलवाड़ कर रहे थे और प्रधानमंत्री जी की सुरक्षा के साथ हिला हवाली कर रहे थे, लीपा पोती कर रहे थे, किसके कहने पर कर रहे थे? सीएम चन्नी बार बार झूठ बोल रहे थे। ये किसकी ओर इशारा करता है? किस परिवार और किस पार्टी के नेता को वो रिपोर्टिंग बार-बार कर रहे थे?
The government has put restrictions on the export of wheat flour to curb its rising prices. The decision was taken at a meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs chaired by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The Directorate General of Foreign Trade will issue a notification to this effect. The Russia-Ukraine war has led to global wheat supply chain disruptions as they both are major exporters of wheat, accounting for around one-fourth of the global wheat trade. As a result, wheat flour exports from India registered a growth of 200 during April-July 2022 compared to the corresponding period in 2021. This led to a rise in the price of the wheat in domestic market. India's labour force will play a vital role in fulfilling nation's dream, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said while addressing the National Conference of Labour Ministers of all states and union territories. Noting that India lagged behind in deriving benefits of the first three industrial revolutions, he said the country is taking advantage of the ongoing fourth industrial revolution.
प्रधानमंत्री श्रमयोगी मानधन योजना, प्रधानमंत्री सुरक्षा बीमा योजना, प्रधानमंत्री जीवन ज्योति बीमा योजना जैसे अनेक प्रयासों ने श्रमिकों को एक तरह का सुरक्षा कवच दिया है.
The Delhi High Court has refused to stay the Centres AKYAP scheme for recruitment in the armed forces. The court has asked the central government to file its reply within 4 weeks of a batch on petition challenging the scheme. The AKYAP scheme provides for recruitment of youths in the defence forces between the age of 17.5 and 23 years for only 4 years. There's a provision to retain 25% of them for 15 more years. Union Home Minister Amit Shah reviewed the situation prevailing in Jammu and Kashmir, including the security arrangements along the border with Pakistan. The high-level meeting was attended by National Security Advisor Rajiv, J&K Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha, Union Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla and senior officials. Chaired by Amit Shah, the meeting discussed the security situation in Jammu and Kashmir. 3 terrorists were killed as security forces foiled an infiltration bid along the line of control in Uri sector of Jammu and Kashmir. The infiltration attempt was foiled near Madian Nanak Post in Uri sector in North Kashmir's Baramulla district. In another breakthrough, security forces arrested 2 alleged associations of terrorists from Jammu and Kashmir's Bandipora district. Police also recovered 3 pistols, magazines and hand grenades from them. Prime Minister Modi on Thursday interacted with students participating in the grand finale of this year's Smart India Hackathon. The hackathon for more than 15,000 students is a nationwide initiative to provide them with a platform to solve some of the pressing problems people face in daily lives. This year's Smart India Hackathon Junior has been introduced for school students to inculcate a culture of product innovation and a mindset of problem solving.
आजादी के 100 वर्ष होने पर हमारा देश कैसा होगा, इसे लेकर देश बड़े संकल्पों पर काम कर रहा है. इन संकल्पों की पूर्ति के लिए जय अनुसंधान, इसके उद्घोष के ध्वजावाहक आप इनोवेटर्स हैं. अमृतकाल का ये 25 वर्ष का टाइम पीरियड आपके लिए अभूतपूर्व संभावनाएं लेकर आया है.
5G mobile services will start by October in India, stated the Union Information and Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw. The IT Minister said that all states have agreed to the 5G rollout at a reasonable cost. Vaishnaw said he expects 5G to reach every part of the country in the next 2 to 3 years.
सारे के सारे टेलीकॉम सर्विस प्रोवाइडर्स अपना इक्विपमेंट लगाना, इक्विपमेंट को प्रॉपर्ली ट्यून अप करना, जगह जगह नए जो भी इंस्टॉलेशंस करने में लगे हुए हैं और होपफुली बाय अक्टूबर 5G वी शुड बी लॉन्चिंग एंड उसके बाद में बहुत रैपिड स्केल अप करेंगे.
India's creditworthiness will not face any near-term pressure, according to S&P Global Ratings. The ratings agency said India has sufficient foreign exchange reserves to bear the debt pressure. It noted that emerging markets are facing broad-based external pressures from higher commodity prices, US dollar dominance and tightening financial conditions. India, it said, is facing these trends from a position of relative strength. In particular, India is a net creditor to the world, which means that it has buffer built up against cyclical difficulties like these. S&P has a BBB rating on India with a stable outlook. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla said that it is the responsibility of the parliamentarians to make fruits of development accessible to the last person in the queue. Birla shared India's perspective on a People's Parliament, accessibility through innovation, held during the 65th Commonwealth Parliamentary Conference in Canada's Halifax. He stressed that technological developments like electronic voting machines has helped in enhancing the participatory nature of democracy in the country.
संसदीय लोकतंत्र में जनता की आशाओं अपेक्षाओं को संसद द्वारा अभिव्यक्ति किया जाता है। जनता की भावनाएं संसद के माध्यम से प्रकट होती है। सर्वोच्च प्रतिनिधि संस्था के रूप में संसद का दायित्व है कि वह जनता की अपेक्षाओं के अनुरूप कार्य करे।
Birla also met with Speaker of Canada Senate George Furey and talked about ways to strengthen the role of parliamentary committees. He also met with the Speaker of Canadian House of Commons, Anthony Roto. Now let's take a look at news from across the nation. The Supreme Court has agreed to review the decision to uphold the powers of the ED, including arrest under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act. The court has sought a reply from the centre in this matter. Scientist Sameer V. Kamath has been appointed as Secretary, Department of Defence Research and Development and Chairman, DRDO. National Highway Logistic Management Limited, along with Inland Waterways Authority of India and Rail Vikas Nigam Limited, signed an MOU to develop the multi-modal logistic park in the presence of Union Ministers Nitin Gadkari, Sarbananda Sonowal and VK Singh. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath launched 42 electric buses in Lucknow. He said the need was to make public transport free from air and noise pollution in urban areas. Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma announced the opening of the Cowbrow Hotel for guests on September 7. The hotel was under construction for the last 30 years. He also informed that 2,000-room hotels are being built under PMEG scheme in the state. Devesh Chandra Thakur was elected unopposed as the chairman of the Legislative Council in Bihar. He had filed his nomination papers for the post of chairman yesterday. In the last 24 hours, 10,725 new COVID-19 cases have been reported in the nation, and the number of patients undergoing treatment came down to 94,047. Time for a short break here. On the other side, world rallies in support of Ukraine on its Independence Day. People take to streets as many places across the globe. Stay tuned.
न्यू इंडिया डिबेट में आज बात करेंगे भारत के दवा बाजार की स्थिति की।
रिसर्च, इनोवेशन, डिस्कवरी, डेवलपमेंट, ये चार ऐसे पहिए हैं जो भारत के फार्मास्यूटिकल्स को आगे बढ़ा रहे हैं।
जब हम बात करते हैं फार्मा 4.0 तो उसमें आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, डेटा मॉनिटरिंग, डेटा एनालिटिक्स, उसके साथ साथ रोबोटिक्स की।
बायो इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर्स बेसिकली एक फैसिलिटी है जो स्टार्टअप्स है उनका जो बिजनेस करने का पोटेंशियल है उसको ये गाइड करता है।
आयुर्वेदा का सारे बेसिक हमारे पास है, सारे लिटरेचर अवेलेबल है, उसमें ऐसे भी बहुत सारे मोइटी का पता चल जाएगा ना जिसको दुनिया को पता है नहीं।
सेल्फ मेडिकेशन जो है वो ऑनलाइन फार्मेसी से बढ़ सकता है।
Welcome back to the news. Now time for all the big developments from Russia-Ukraine war front. As Ukraine marked 31 years of its independence from the Soviet rule, Russia launched a massive attack at a train station in the eastern Ukraine. Here are more details.
Russia launched a rocket attack on a train station in eastern Ukrainian town of Chaplin on Wednesday. At least 25 people were killed and dozens wounded in the lethal attack 145 kilometers west of Russian-occupied Donetsk. Deputy head of the president's office, Kyrylo Tymoshenko, said that Russian forces shelled Chaplin twice. A boy was killed in the first attack when his house was hit by a missile. He stated that 21 people died later when rockets hit the railway station and set fire to 5 carriages of a passenger train. In a video address, Zelensky said that Ukraine would make Russia take responsibility for everything it had done. Earlier on Tuesday, he had warned of repugnant Russian provocations on Independence Day, which also marked 6 months of Russia's invasion. The residents of Chaplin mourned their loved ones who lost their lives in the Russian strike as the rescuers dug through the rubble to look for any survivors. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
The world rallied in support of Ukraine on its Independence Day on Wednesday. People took to streets at many places across the globe, demanding Russia to end its invasion of Ukraine.
Holding pictures of children who lost their lives during Russia's invasion of Ukraine, groups of women led a protest march in Mexico's capital city. They demanded Russia to end its war in Ukraine. In the capital cities of Argentina and Chile, the streets were drenched in the colors of the Ukrainian flag, blue and yellow. In Buenos Aires, hundreds of protesters marched to the Russian embassy. France showed its support to Ukraine by lighting the Luxor obelisk in Paris in the colors of the Ukrainian flag on Wednesday. French President Emmanuel Macron said the defense of Ukraine meant refusing to allow international relations to be ruled by violence and chaos. Hundreds of people, including many Ukrainians based in Italy, took to the streets of Rome on Wednesday. Carrying Ukrainian flags, many sang Ukraine's national anthem and shouted slogans condemning Russia's President Vladimir Putin. Ambassadors to Italy from Germany, Poland and Ukraine also took part in the march. Athens saw a similar protest march that included several Ukrainians living in Greece. In Poland, thousands of Ukrainians took part in Independence Day rallies in Warsaw and other cities, demanding Russia to be internationally named as a terrorist state. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now a look at some other global updates. A Pakistani court on Thursday extended former Prime Minister Imran Khan's pre-arrest bail for 1 week in a terrorism case over a speech, his lawyer said. Imran Khan appeared in court in person amidst tight security. More details follow.
A Pakistani court granted Imran Khan bail until September 1st in a case filed against a speech he made last week. Khan reportedly said he would not spare the Islamabad police chief and a female judge who remanded his aide to custody, adding he would take legal action against them. The police said it amounted to threatening state authorities. They maintained that Khan's purpose was to spread terror amongst the police and the judiciary and prevent them from doing their duty. The former premier maintained after the hearing he had said nothing wrong in the speech last week. Police filed charges on Saturday against the former cricket star. Political tensions in Pakistan are high ahead of the elections that are due in October next year. Khan's bail in the matter was to expire on Thursday, but the court granted him 1 more week after his court appearance. Khan's supporters and former ministers in his government have threatened mass protests if he is arrested. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Japan's national police chief has said that he will resign to take responsibility over the fatal shooting of former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe at a campaign speech last month. We get you a detailed report.
Japanese police chief Itaru Nakamura's announcement of resignation came on a day when his agency released a report on how it failed to protect former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's life on July 8 when he was assassinated in Nara in western Japan. The police report found holes in Abe's police protection that allowed the attacker to shoot him from behind. Nakamura said he took the former Prime Minister's death seriously and that he submitted his resignation to the National Public Safety Commission on Thursday. Japanese media reported that his resignation is expected to be approved at Friday's cabinet meeting. In Nara, Prefectural Police Chief Tomoaki Onizuka also expressed his intention to step down over Abe's assassination. The alleged gunman Tetsuya Yamagami was arrested at the scene and is currently under mental evaluation until late November. Yamagami said he targeted Abe because of the former leader's link to the Unification Church, which he hated. Abe sent a video message last year to a group affiliated with the church, which experts say may have triggered the shooting suspect. The church was founded in South Korea in 1954. In Japan, it is seen to have built close ties with the members of Abe's Liberal Democratic Party on their shared interest of anti-communism. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now news from other parts of the world in a quick world wrap. French President Emmanuel Macron met with IAEA Chief Rafael Grossi for discussions on the war in Ukraine. The French President expressed his support for the deployment of an International Atomic Energy Agency mission at Zaporizhzhia nuclear plant. Grossi said the mission could take place within the next few days. Vote counting is underway in Angola. President João Lourenço is seeking a second term. The opposition party UNITA is trying to unseat the ruling MPLA party, which has been in power for the past 47 years. This has been one of the most disputed elections the African nation has had in years. Preliminary results show MPLA in the lead, but UNITA is already contesting the initial results. Envoys from the European Union and the United States are in Kosovo to defuse tensions between Kosovo and Serbia. The tensions heightened as long-standing differences between Belgrade and Pristina surfaced over dispute over car number plates. Kosovo declared independence from Serbia in 2008. Serbia accused Kosovo of trampling on the rights of minority Serbs. Taiwan proposed a $19 billion in defense spending for next year on Thursday. This is a double-digit increase over 2022 spending that includes funds for new fighter jets, weeks after China staged large-scale military exercises around the island. The planned spending is the highest rise for Taiwan and must be approved by the parliament. The overall defense budget proposed by President Tsai Ing-wen's cabinet sets a 13.9 year-on-year increase to a record $19.41 billion. After Balochistan and eastern Punjab province of Pakistan, flash floods have now started to affect the southern Sindh province. Authorities this week closed schools in Sindh and Balochistan. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif appealed to philanthropists to help flood-affected areas in Pakistan. Pakistan's disaster agency said that heavy rains have triggered flash, leaving over 900 dead and about 50,000 people homeless. Now time for all the sporting action of the day. In an all-India clash, HS Pranoy defeated Lakshya Sen to book his place in the quarter-finals of the BWF World Championships being played in Tokyo. Pranoy came from behind to win in 3 games 17-21, 21-16, 21-17. Saina Nehwal lost in the pre-quarter-finals of the BWF World Championships. Saina lost in the round of 16 match to Thailand's Busana Ongbam Rungam in 17-21, 21-16, 13-21. Backed by Andhra and Rajasthan Football Associations, Baichung Bhutia has filed a fresh nomination for the post of president ahead of the IAFF election scheduled for September 2nd. Track legend Usain Bolt has filed to trademark his victory pose with the United States Patent and Trademark Office. Bolt plans to use the emblem in sports bars, restaurants, as well as on clothing, jewelry and shoes. Real Madrid and rivals await Champions League drawn in Istanbul. The draw for this season's group stage is to be held at 1600 GMT, that is 9:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, just after we close the bulletin. That's all in today's The News. For more updates, stay tuned to Sunset Television. Good night and take care.